Hey, everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio's first Friday Toast to the Arts show with the National Parks Arts Foundation. We love the National Parks Arts Foundation because they put artists in residence for a full month in a park. So they've got parks like Dry-Tortugas National Park, where you can stay on your own island. Fort Union, a national monument. That's a historical site up in northern New Mexico. We just came back from there. And places like Hawaii-Volcanoes National Park. And I'm saying all these parks because we're excited to welcome Artist-Alise-Leese back on the show. Alice is an amazing painter. She does plein-air art. She is just awesome. And she was an artist in residence through the National Parks Arts Foundation in Fort Union, Hawaii-Volcanoes National Park. And now she's going to go on her own island. Her and her husband get to have a 1 month long art vacation on their own island in Dry-Tortugas on the Loggerhead Key. So I encourage you to go to nationalparksartsfoundation.org and also keep up with Alice. It's Artist-Leese.com. That's Leese. She's in Texas oil country, so it's a different kind of lease. Welcome back, Alice. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Lisa and Nancy. It's good to be here and talk to y'all about this upcoming residency. And it's just so glad to be able to talk to you again after talking to you about Fort Union and Hawaii, and now to be able, for the third time, to be able to go again and talk to y'all again.
Oh man,
so cool.
This is so exciting.
I want to go.
I know, we want to go. Can't we come and meet you? Maybe we can, like, depending on where are we going to be? This is September when you're going to be there, right?
Right. The height of hurricane season, I believe.
Yeah, that's always fun, know.
Yeah, that'll make it interesting.
I can see that, like, all kinds of art. She's going to be all like, "Leave me on the island. I got to paint the storm."
Oh yeah, I don't want to evacuate. I want to just stay there.
Exactly. No, this is so neat that you're going to go there. You've had two completely, unique experiences. Nancy and I were just in Fort Union. In fact, we just had a conversation with Lorenzo on the show. Not too long ago. And we were thinking of you and all the other artists that have been there. So it's always so interesting to go to a park after we've chatted with the artists. Because Nancy, didn't you see Alice's paintings while you were walking through the fort?
We're like, oh, I think Alice stood here when she painted that picture.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came home with about 25 paintings from Fort Union and resources and photos, and was able to create I've got a 3 foot by 5 foot. I'm going to try to take to Lorenzo on Friday here in the studio. And yeah, that's that part, it's remote, but it's not going to be as remote as the Dry-Tortugas. And I was thinking about Fort Union compared to the Dry-Tortugas. It was a journey to get to Fort Union, and you journeyed across land and you came to sort of an oasis. So at Dry-Tortugas, we're going to be journeying across water and coming to dry land. So it's sort of the same concept. You're surrounded by emptiness, isolated, and you'll be able to see the horizon in all directions.
Wow.
And I think that's where the land meets the sky. That's an important thing to get in your paintings because it gives you a sense of scale. And so at Fort Union, I was able to get that in there. And then here on Dry-Tortugas, I can't wait to get on the island and look and see how far I can see to the horizon.
I read that there used to be a crocodile living there, but the Park Service took him away and put him in the Everglades where he belongs.
Yeah. Oh my. Well, that's great.
Just imagine if you're out there all alone on the island and here comes a crocodile. You're like, uh-oh.
Well, you know what? You've got Alice, and then her husband, your husband's going to be out there too. And I'm thinking, well, y'all are cattle ranchers. So if there's any crocodiles, she's going to start rounding them up.
Well, we'll just rope it and we'll have it halter broke by the time we leave, and you'll be able to put a saddle on it.
Crocodile riding in the Dry-Tortugas. I love. Well, that's going to be neat too. Do you might be there with the turtles, the baby turtles? Yeah,
that's what I hear. Tortugas, it's named for the turtles, so I'm looking forward to seeing all the wildlife and the birds. I hear there's birds, that quite a few migratory birds that stop over there.
Oh,
and
cool.
that's going to be interesting.
Mm.
You know, you're in Texas, West Texas, and Nancy and I had the pleasure of spending some time in Texas this year. Lubbock was as close as we got to you, I think.
Yeah.
And you know, we're going to be back in Texas July, because apparently that's a good time of year to visit, July and August.
Yeah, it's hot. I don't.
Well, we're going to be in
He's like,
Dallas,
"Don't
and
do
then we're
it."
going to Austin, but we were also in
Mm.
Bandera, and we were thinking of you, Bandera County, in a teeny
Yeah.
place called Medina, and then there was Bandera, but it's the cowboy capital of the, it's like the international cowboy
Okay.
cattle, and it was interesting to learn about the cattle migration and how like everything, you know, this went all the way up to Canada, right? Like this whole
The
big
cattle
cattle
drives.
drive.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the cattle drive era only lasted 10 or 15 years.
Hmm.
And they were trying to get cattle to the railhead, which was, I think, in Kansas.
Mm.
Mhm.
And that's why they drove the cattle. But then, you know, the railroad came pretty soon after that. And so there was no need to drive the cattle all that way. They put them on the train.
Okay. So yeah,
But the Goodnight Loving Trail came through Texas, or where we live.
Awesome.
cool.
And then
That's
there was the
cool.
Chisholm Trail, I believe, and
Mhm.
yeah, different cattle drive trails.
Not migrations of cattle drives.
Well,
There's a
buffalo
difference.
migrated, but the cattle really didn't, I don't think.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's true. Back in the day, right? There were buffalo
Yeah.
out there, and you think about it. It's
Yeah,
so your
yeah.
family's part. See, it's interesting because we talk about Fort Union, and Fort Union, you know, you've got the Santa Fe Trail, and you know all this history and these trails. And I don't know, Texas, you guys, I think every corner there's a historical marker. You guys,
Uh-huh.
you,
Yeah.
so
Well, you know, Texas belonged to several different countries before, you know, we finally gained independence from Spain. And
yeah.
then, you know, they started the homestead laws that you could come to Texas and homestead. I think in the early 1900s they started that. And so
Mm.
there's some old families here, and then some of them are so old that they were here before Texas was Texas, and they had
Wow.
Spanish land grants, and
Mm.
some of those families are still here.
Because didn't we see that more when we were in the hill country, like we were going through different, no, that was New Mexico. You see these
New
grants.
Mexico, yeah, in New Mexico, I thought Texas was old until I went and spent some time in New Mexico.
Mm,
So some of those ranches have been in families for 300-400 years.
wow.
Mm.
Do you think, you know, going to Dry-Tortugas, that your experience on the ranch, you know, because you're in a remote, right now we're in your studio. Those who are watching this, a lot of you can listen, but you're in your studio right now, and it's amazing we're all able to do this because you don't even have Wi-Fi. You guys are out in the
Right.
remote wilderness,
R-
basically. But do you think
Yeah.
your experience from being on the ranch, obviously, you know, Hawaii-Volcanoes, and then also being at Fort Union, but your ranch experience will help you both being on the island, and you both have to go together because you have to have two people on the island, but
Right.
do you think
Right.
it'll help you?
Oh yeah. You know, I think that we would make good hermits out here because the store is 30 miles away, and I won't go. I'll starve before I'll go. But Rob gets hungry before I do, and he'll go. We don't have internet. We don't have, you know, a landline. There's no cable TV. There's sometimes, you know, the electricity goes out. And, you know, we have to be self-sufficient out here.
Mm,
And my dad didn't have a telephone until he built the phone line himself. So,
Wow.
you know, and and he just got rid of that, probably 20 years ago. So it's remote, and we're, you know, we can survive out here. We grow beef, and we have a garden, and, you know, there's not much we need from town. And I don't like to be on the internet and talking to people all the time anyway. I want to be working.
mm. So being on the island at Dry-Tortugas, because you go in on a boat. I know are you doing those classes yet? Like you have to do those
Not
safety classes?
not yet. We're we're anticipating doing that. We're getting some travel insurance in place and kind of starting to get things in place. Yeah, going in by boat and taking your food for a month, that I don't think that'll be any problem. And you know, we're used to being by ourselves. We can go weeks at a time without seeing anybody, and look at each other and say, what day is this? Is it time to go to church? I mean, is this Sunday?
You sound like Nancy and I. Nancy and I wake up every morning going,
Like,
where the heck are we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You try
What
to
day
go
is it and where am I?
yeah, what day is it? Where, you know, it's like if we didn't have radio shows, and now that, you know, we've kind of changed our format here, it's like, okay, now it's like, who knows what day it is? And you know, we wake up and
Yeah.
now we kind of go, okay, we're going to go according to what birds we hear in the morning to kind of figure out where you are. And we found out
What
that,
season?
yeah, what season, what, you know, but we found out back east, they don't have doves like they do back west.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine
Okay.
not hearing doves every day?
Not
Like,
waking up to a morning dove.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
different, you
It
know?
was odd.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what
Yeah.
happened to the birds?
Yeah. Well, there's birds, but it's just,
Yeah,
it's
just
different,
a
you
whole
know?
different set.
You get to wake up to pelicans when you go to the
Oh,
island.
is that right? Okay.
I don't know. I'm just thinking,
I-
you know, the beach, pelicans,
Well,
right?
it would seem like there would be pelicans there.
Oh,
So-
how cool.
I
I
think
love
there's-
pelicans.
There's a
Yeah.
couple
Yeah.
of species of birds that nest on the islands, I think. But you're probably just past the nesting season. And you're
Okay.
going when, September?
Mid-September.
September.
Yeah,
Mm.
you'll have all the adult birds by that time.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll be grown up.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have to teach them anything. But also going there, you know, you're plein air painting. So, you know, think
Right.
about when you were in Hawaii, you went down in the caldera, like you got the, you know, this is the other thing
Yep.
too. It's like you the volcanic part of it. New Mexico to me was also very volcanic with its geology, and it's
Right.
New Mexico's awesome. But also when you go out
Yeah.
there, now you've got the ocean, you've got a whole different kind of thing with that perspective. Do you
Oh.
see yourself getting a lot of sand out of your paint?
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
we live in the Chihuahuan Desert, and it's pretty sandy and dry. So I spend a lot of time getting sand out of tripods and things. And we like to say we live on the beach, but there's no water.
Yeah.
It's just desert. We have sandstorms, and the wind is always blowing. So, you know, every plein air painting in the studio right now, there's probably 100 of them in here have
Wow.
sand in it. So you know, that's just part of it. And
A little texture.
yeah, so getting somewhere moist, I think that the sand won't blow around quite as much, and it may be better than, I mean, there might not be quite as much sand in everything there, I think. You know, not having been there, and I'm sure any other artist listening to me now is laughing that has been there, because they know, and I'm looking forward to hearing from all you guys to tell me what to expect. But yeah, and any advice that the former artist can give as far as the paints and the drying times and the packing, I think we can pretty well get it down. But I'm planning to have about 60 plein air paintings by the time we leave, and these will be just 11 by 14s, pretty small, along with photographic references, journal entries, sketches, watercolor sketches, drawings, just tons of resources gathered so that I can come back and make larger works from the plein air pieces and the other resources.
Okay. Yeah. Cause like the painting behind you is pretty big.
Yeah. Getting back in the studio and doing large format pieces is one of the really the highlights of the residencies to me, because while you're there, you gather so much information that you can fill up long canvases with really cool paintings that, you know, sometimes you don't have enough information and it's hard to go from small to large. But being able to immerse yourself for a month in a landscape, and you know, it'll be regionalism at the Dry-Tortugas. So all landscape is regionalism, but you know, getting there and immersing yourself for a month and being able to really use all your senses to come away with an impression of what it feels like to be there, and then be able to come back to the studio, put it on a large canvas, and take that canvas, you know, to shows, and so that the viewers can understand what it feels like to be at the Dry-Tortugas. That's gonna be really fun. And I've got some shows lined up with Sol Ross in Alpine, Texas, and with my alma mater, ACU, in Abilene, Texas. Also talking to them about a show. So there'll be some opportunities for the large paintings to go into big galleries.
Very cool.
That's awesome. And you know, because also one of what makes this residency so unique is, you know, obviously you're there on an island for a month, but this is also a residency or a place that the general public don't get to see. So in that way, you're giving people that experience. And your paintings, you know, you've got such texture. We love your work, Nancy and I both. I mean, we can't wait to see what's happening there. What's going to come out of your creativity with this?
Oh, I can't either. And I can't really even imagine, but it seems like that the movement of the waves and the storms coming in, the wind, the erosion there, that I'll hopefully be able to capture all that movement in the works and really create some stunning pieces, I think. Also
I was just going to say, if you like to swim and snorkel, you could see all those colorful fish. That might make a great painting too.
Yeah. Underwater paintings.
Yeah.
Would, you know, that would be really neat. And getting to use my blues is going to be something else, because I use a lot of burnt umbers and burnt siennas and yellow ochres and earth colors here. So getting to use blues and greens is going to be unique.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, I know you think about it. Yeah, it's going to be a whole other feel to it. And then painting water, that's also different versus, you know, like dirt all the time, you know, painting the actual water and waves.
Yeah, the reflective and translucent quality and iridescent quality and all the colors in water. It's going to be, I'm going to have fun doing that, I think.
There's also the history. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Nancy.
I said it's exciting, you know. It's like a total switching of what you normally do.
Yeah. And the other thing, the history, there's like the lighthouse and fort. I mean, when you think about Dry-Tortugas, there's a fort part of it. Do you see yourself getting into the history like you did in Fort Union?
Yeah. Reading ahead of time and on the National Park website and books and things about Fort Union. I mean, about Fort Jefferson.
Oh yeah, Fort Jefferson. That's
Fort
right.
Jefferson. Yeah. That I'll get into all that, and because that does inform your paintings. You need really to know the history of the place you're painting. It helps. It kind of rounds out and gives a solid view of what it's authentic, maybe.
Yeah, I understand that. You was in Fort Union, you got involved with, immersed in the one lady's writings. You know, you said you got into her journal, and that's the other part about, I think, what's so cool about the National Parks Arts Foundation, these residencies, that you get to go into the archives, right, a lot of times, and read and see things that the general public don't always see.
Fort Union had a library, and it rained or snowed for 2 weeks before I was there. So they had a big thick book on the history of Fort Union. So getting to read about Marion Sloan Russell, she went up and down the Santa Fe Trail 5 or 6 times.
Wow.
And she married a soldier there at the fort, and then she came back in later life. She didn't die until 1930 something. Came back in later life and expressed her opinion that they should really preserve Fort Union, and I think that helped. I think in 1950 something they declared it a national monument. But yeah, she was quite a lady and very tough, it seems like.
But these journals are important. I mean, maybe one day people will be reading your journals from, your adventures in all these parks. When you're writing your journals, are you doing things like color? Just kind of doing the so when you go back to the studio, you've got like the color that you want, and are you writing like how you feel?
Oh yes. So here is that's just like a sketchbook entry. There's not many words on that, but I was able to get most of the information in color. So
okay,
this is another journal entry. So it'll have things like the colors of the sky, cerulean sky, bare hills, gray, blue, green, blue stem, mesquite, high cirrus clouds. I'll usually try to get the time of day, the date, whether it's windy or not, what the temperature is, so that you can recreate the same feeling when you get back in the studio of that day.
That's interesting. So how does Rob feel about all of this going out there? What's he going to be up to?
He's excited. We've been drafted out here at the ranch and working, all the time. So he's ready to go away somewhere for a month, and he's all in. He says they've got maintenance to do. I'm going to be doing maintenance, and that's good. That's what he does here at the ranch. He maintains the ranch. So he's like, oh yes, I'll be maintaining the solar array and the desalinization plant, and they may have stuff they need fixed there. So he's he's all into that.
Cool.
But he's going to be journaling also and photographing and sort of documenting the trip.
Oh, that's awesome. It's awesome. And doing the maintenance, see, that's the other part is, the volunteer work for the Park Service. I remember, Matthew and Julie Chase Daniels, when they went, they did go through the hurricane and evacuated and then went back. But they also did, volunteer to help with part of the cleanup. And I think there's something about that, just, when you do stuff, when you're immersed in it, it's to have the response to take responsibility of where you are. Like for us, as we travel the country, a lot of it, we're running around photographing, doing like what you're talking about, for articles and, videos and everything. But when we're in between time, our production time, we pet sit, so we're taking care of homes and animals, which we love, because then we get to be with dogs, cats, and apparently, listen, we're going to be on a farm. We're going to be pet sitting on a farm in Georgia, in North Carolina, in the middle of nowhere, on a river. And Nancy and I are good. I'm going to be calling you. We're taking care of over 50 turkeys. And
oh my goodness!
And getting out. I know. So, but they also have like vegetables and everything that we harvest, and then we take down to the food bank. And they're like, "You don't need to do that." I'm like, "Oh no, I want to be part of that," because when you do something, you start getting in the community. It's a different way of travel. For Rob actually helping with the maintenance, it's a whole other perspective of understanding the land and what, that connection between the humans and a place and a community. That's how we feel with pet sitting. We're actually, you need to know where the vet is. You need to know how things work,
You're committed. You're committed to taking care of those turkeys and pets, and you're gonna
guinea fowl too.
Oh, good. Those are neat. They eat lots of bugs and they make a wonderful sound. They have a beautiful body, but an ugly head.
Oh, we like them. We used to have them in South Africa and Kenya.
Okay.
You'd see them out in the game parks.
Yeah.
And they would chase the cars. They'd chase your car.
Yeah, we have them here on the ranch, and they'll scare up a rattlesnake. We have rattlesnakes, so they'll honk at a rattlesnake. They'll honk when somebody drives up to the house. So they're kind of like a watchdog.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
geez.
we like those. But
Mm.
yeah, taking care of a place. Um, if someone drives by our ranch and throws out trash, or comes on the ranch and throws out maybe a gum wrapper or something, it really upsets us, because
Mm.
that gum wrapper wasn't there before you came here. Take it with you. Don't litter. Don't use more than you have to. Don't destroy the land. We speak for the grass. We're grass growers, basically. We don't have any farming here on the ranch. We don't cultivate. We depend on rain and the grass seed that's already there. And it's 100 square miles of native pasture. And
Wow.
we take care of it. And
Huh.
we want it to be better when we leave it than it was when we got here.
Mm, I love that. And well,
Mm.
because I think that's something too about what you're saying about trash. It, when we go to a park, and doing what you do with the art, it helps people foster that sense, the stewards of the land,
Right.
In parks,
When
the junior ranger program is really cool because it gets kids to learn not to throw trash, but you see people
right.
do it. I mean, it's like orange peels, and
Yeah.
people don't realize orange
Yeah.
peel takes years to decompose.
Yeah. Anything that you're carrying in, you know, I carry when I'm painting, everything comes out with me. And I'm very careful. I never spill anything on the ground.
Mm.
And because, it might kill an ant, but it you just don't want to do that. You want to leave it like it was, you don't want to bring anything in,
Mhm.
Mm.
Man,
but take away some neat images.
yeah, and
That's,
share it.
yeah.
Share that experience. I can't wait for you
Mhm.
to do this. This is so cool. And it's
Yeah.
exciting that you're setting
Oh,
already having like all these exhibits too. Do you see doing an exhibit with all three parks at some point?
oh, that would be really interesting. Yeah,
Mm.
I want to do that.
Yeah, that would be
Good
fun.
idea.
Yeah.
Because it's so neat. You've got a volcano,
Uh,
you've got history, and
yeah,
high desert, and
I'm
then
looking
there
at the
it is.
volcano right now. I've
See?
got 3 panels up on the wall of Kilauea.
Oh
So
man.
yeah,
See, how cool is that? You know, you get
that would be fun.
volcanoes, you get a fort, you have the ocean. I
Yeah,
mean,
three extremes, but
mm-hmm.
sort of like three islands in the middle of, like, Fort Jefferson's in the middle of the ocean, Fort Union's in the middle of the at the edge of the prairies where they meet the mountains.
Mm,
Uh, Hawaii, it's an island, so yeah.
yeah.
That's
This is
awesome.
I'm so excited. And of
Mm.
course you're gonna have to come back on the show once you return so you can see how you enjoyed it. And this time we got to get Rob
I
on
would
with
love
you.
to.
Get Rob on at the
Yes,
same time. That would be
he's
cool.
he's worked branding cattle today. He couldn't be here. He wishes he could.
Oh, we'll tell him, say hi. And we're just you got to
I
get
sure
some
will.
photos of him doing the maintenance.
I will.
You're
Yeah.
gonna, and
Yeah.
that's the thing too. When you say about you going to Dry-Tortugas, you're not staying in a hotel, and there's being where you. I mean, this is an interesting thing. I mean, I know Hawaii-Volcanoes. You had the art house on the ocean front, right?
Yes,
That's a
it was nice.
that house. I'm like,
Wow.
I know. I'm like Tanya, Nancy, and I'd like to move in. you know,
Yeah,
but
that house has a studio in the garage, but and you have to face inside into the garage to really get good light. That was hard to do because you could turn the other way and you could see the ocean. And that's the way I always wanted to
Mm.
look.
see, that's it. Well, now you're going to be right there
Yeah.
on your own island, but this is
Yeah.
complete off grid. I mean, we didn't go in, but we saw, where the residency area is for the artists in Fort Union when we drove through. And I'm like,
Yeah.
to me, there's something about that area, like, especially when you start first going into the fort when you go to the oldest part of the fort, and then you can see where the fort was like a long, long time ago,
Yeah, the first fort. Yeah.
Yeah, that area to me,
Yeah.
there's something magical about the views and what you can see. And you've got to think about it. When they built
Right.
forts, they wanted to be able to see all around what, so
Mhm.
any danger coming. But
Yeah.
that, that was pretty remote. But when you think of Dry-Tortugas and being on Loggerhead Key, your own little island, but you're completely off the grid. So that means you are running by solar. But then when you talk about the water, so you're taking seawater and turning it into fresh water to drink. Is that
That's
what's
what I
happening?
hear. Yeah, there's a desalinization plant there that takes some maintenance. So that's
Huh.
I believe that's what we drink. I don't have all the particulars yet. So well,
So are you going to
um,
take a lot of beef jerky?
yeah, 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 beef
Yeah.
jerky and I
Wow.
don't know. Hopefully we maybe Rob can fish a little and I don't know what the rules are. We sure check out the rules and make sure everything's good. But you know, I'm sure we can take beef jerky and um, maybe some lettuce or something. I don't know.
She's like, next thing
I'm
you know,
not too
there's a
worried
farm.
about eating.
I know, that's the last thing. I mean,
It's
like,
only a month.
yeah,
Yeah.
see, you're like us,
Uh,
we just live on sandwiches, man. That's it. It's
yeah.
like roadside,
A
you know.
loaf of bread and a package of bologna. That's
There,
it.
there you go. There you are, man. I love it. I love it. So please do keep us posted when you get back home. We'll have to, maybe we'll see you when we go through Texas again.
Yeah,
Hopefully
look me up. I'd be glad to show you around.
we still want to go back to, we not go back to, we still want to go to Roy Orbison's museum. That's still
Oh,
on my bucket
in
list.
Wink, Texas.
Well, I
Don't
just,
get your hopes up too high. It's real small.
oh, but that's okay. I want to go to Wink, Texas. I like all the tiny towns in Texas.
Oh,
Like really, the
all
little
right.
historic
Well,
towns are cool.
you'll pass through Kermit before you get there. So
Kermit?
Kermit,
Serious? Oh, that's it. We're going.
named after Kermit Roosevelt.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
not the frog.
I know Nancy wants the
Right.
frog. That's awesome. That's awesome. Everyone, again, go to nationalparksartsfoundation.org. They always have something coming up. Best thing to do is get their newsletter, follow them on social media, because these opportunities come and they go fast. Dry-Tortugas is a once a year opportunity. And, I think they've kind of booked out all the way through the end of 2022, but they always have new parks, new opportunities. So really apply, and you can also donate to them because they're really cool doing this with the artists out there. A lot of it costs a lot to, permits, all kinds of things to be able to put an artist out on an island. A lot of the artists even get stipends and that's awesome. So it's just really an awesome organization. Alice, any suggestions for an artist? I mean, you can be any kind of artist too, musician, poet, painter, you can be a
Right.
filmmaker, you name it, to apply. Any tips for someone who's been thinking about this and, should I go for it? Should I apply?
Yeah, go for it and don't give up. Keep applying.
Yeah, that's the other thing, because sometimes you won't get it, but the next time you might.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Have a thick skin. I've gotten turned down a lot more than accepted. Just keep applying.
And that's, yeah, and this is your third one. Has it
Mhm.
helped you in regards to getting, shows at galleries and
Yeah,
that kind of thing?
I think it has. I think that the public's really interested in the national parks, and they want to see the work that's created there, and then to have the artists come in and do maybe a gallery talk or a presentation and tell about the parks and how to get there, how to visit, and what to look for. I think it's helped get museum shows and things.
Oh, that's awesome. And the other thing too is, for an artist, you are part of the park's legacy when you do this.
Mhm.
You're part of the
Yeah,
history of the
yeah.
park, of what has
You're
occurred.
sort of creating, contributing to the historical record. The park may not look like it did when you were there 50 years from now. So you're contributing to that.
Awesome. And everyone, Artist-Leese.com is the website, and that's Leese, right? Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Well, thank you so much and have a good time.